Dungeon Scrollers Not Pre-Game show. Tonight, we are talking about a campaign that is going to be coming back soon. That's Greymantle, which is a dark gothic fantasy adventure. And these are my lovely players for the game. And yeah, it's been a while since we played in this campaign and played with these characters and played with these stories. So I thought we'd just have a pre-launch event, just some time to sit down and chat about what Greymantle is, what our characters are like, what we want to see in the future. I'm going to be taking notes because I'm the DM and that's what I need to do. But before we get to that, let's just go around and introduce ourselves, starting with Allie, who I think is probably going to tell us about one of our sponsors as well.
Oh yeah, I can do that. I can do that in just a second while I talk about myself because I have to
Excellent.
pull up the All right, well, hi everybody. I am Alexander Pitchford or Allie. You can find me on Twitter at Lexi Phoenix generally. Not on there that often these days. But I am a writer, game designer, TTRPG streamer, and I'm also going to tell you about one of our sponsors, which is Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms, which is a strategy game that unites iconic Dungeons and Dragons characters from novels, campaigns, and popular shows into one epic adventure, including Frida, Havilar, and Mahen from the Brimstone Angels novels. The game is available for PC and Mac on Steam and Web, Epic Games Store, Google Play, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, Nintendo Switch, iPad, iPhone, and on all Android devices. And for more information, do check out idlechampions.com.
We often have a code. I'm not sure if we have a code tonight, though. Not to disappoint everybody. We'll see. We'll see. Um, yeah, Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda Cherry. I am an author of contemporary and historical urban fantasy, tabletop roleplay games, and the occasional award-winning screenplay. I'm also a union actor and just a giant all-around nerd. I am going to shout out our DM over here who recently had
What?
a Kickstarter fund and was
Oh, that's me.
successful. Yeah, that's you.
Thank you.
They're in the Justice Vengeance universe, a place where I occasionally also get to go and play. Be on the lookout for pre-order and other information because I have read this book. I'm going to blurb this book and you want to read this book. So I'll talk about myself on other days. Today I'm just going to talk about him.
She's also read a bunch of the spin-off and tie-in stories and whatnot, and I keep messaging her plans for future books. So she knows what she's talking about. That's what I'm saying.
The fact that I had to look at you like you didn't just completely rock my world in DMs today. Like, nope, I got to play it cool. I gotta be cool now. I'm not
Look,
cool, y'all.
I just
I'm
told
not
you
cool.
one of the secrets. Anyway. All right, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. Look forward to it.
It's gonna be good.
Jen?
Hi, I am Jen. I go by Savage Sparrow on the internet. You can find me on most of the social medias as Savage Sparrow or some variant of that. I do a lot of playing and of the TTRPGs, and I am an artist, and I run a super awesome nerdy clothing brand called Savage Sparrow Studios. I'm wearing one of my shirts right now. Yeah, we had launched a really awesome Pathfinder collection last fall. It's going to be ready and released in March. I am very excited about this. So yeah, look forward to more super awesome apparel and other things.
I'm excited too. I'm looking forward to my apparel that I bought on your Kickstarter.
Man. I got the hoodie samples and they're so comfy and nice
awesome.
And I love them and I'm so excited.
Very good. Forda.
Hi, I'm Forda. You can find me almost everywhere on the internet at Fortavare in some variant, dash, no dash, who even knows. If not there, it's Lex Arts with 2 X's because I lost the other one. I illustrate things, I play games. Occasionally I stream, but mostly I just illustrate things.
Yeah, we were talking before the stream started about how the Dungeon Scrawlers isn't just writers, it's also artists. It's creatives of all different kinds. Scrawlers is a
Ah,
non-deprecating term that we have reclaimed for all artists and all creatives everywhere. So, welcome. All right, so tonight we're talking about Greymantle, and I have already said a little bit about it, and it's this dark gothic fantasy setting that Allie Pitchford and myself, but mostly Allie Pitchford, have been developing for some time. And what I want to do is kind of hand it over to her to get some of the philosophies and the ideas and like the inspirations behind this setting, and go from there.
sure. Well, that's not pressure, is it?
Oh
But
yeah, I'm
no.
totally putting her on the spot. She has no idea what I'm gonna say.
But no, Greymantle. I mean, I could talk about what our actual original inspiration was, or I could
Yeah,
just
go
get a little
for it.
philosophical with it. Well, I mean,
Whatever you want to say. It's your
it's no
baby.
secret. It's no secret that there's not exactly a lot of novels set in certain proprietary fantasy settings coming out.
All right, don't say too much about that. Okay. Just kidding. Go for it.
Um, really, like I've wanted. I've been building worlds for years, long time, most of my life in some respects, bits and pieces here and there, nothing that terribly went anywhere. But like I've always wanted to be a writer. I've always wanted to write in these settings that capture my imagination, and for a long time for me that was like the Forgotten Realms, stuff like that. Uh, so maybe God, it was like, was it 2 years ago now that we started talking about this? I can't even remember.
I think so. That sounds about right.
Yeah, a couple years ago we were talking, and I wanted to do some writing about Shay, my NPC slash PC from a previous campaign. And just couldn't, like, I don't know, it felt to me a little weird to just do this writing on the side that I couldn't really do anything with, and that spawned the conversation that turned into us talking about creating our own setting, uh, which then morphed into the city of Greymantle, which I think went through like half a dozen, maybe more different names before we settled on Greymantle.
That's a pretty good one. Yeah, this is pretty standard advice that I give to people because people, come to me and say, "Hey, I want to write in the Forgotten Realms. How do I do that?" And I'm like, first of all, you're probably not going to, and not because you're not talented, and not because you don't have the the determination and the grit to make it happen, but because WotC doesn't want you to. They actively don't want people to write fiction and tell stories in their settings, except in terms of like at a game at your table or on the big screen, which is pretty cool. Like there is a Forgotten Realms movie coming out,
Yeah.
and there
And
are two
associated
tie-in
tie-in
novels
novels,
for it,
yeah.
which is pretty great. But what I'm
Yes.
saying is, it's not reliable. You,
No.
we are not 30 years ago when TSR was, looking for writers. We are not 20 years ago when WotC was looking for writers. We are 10 years after WotC gutted and destroyed its book department. Okay, so publishing in the realms, probably not going to happen anytime soon. That doesn't
Yeah.
mean like anything is possible. Let's be clear. But if you want to write, writing is great. If you want to write your own stuff because
Yeah.
you can do something with it. You can develop it. You can publish it. So that's the advice that I tend to give people. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And in this case, it definitely did.
Oh
Allie
yeah.
came up with a pretty cool setting, and we have these other excellent players to help us develop it.
Hmm.
So we've heard a little bit of Allie talking about it, and now I want to ask, just kind of generally, what Greymantle means to you as a player. And I know, and I want to start with Amanda because I know that she had a very strong feeling about the aesthetic of the setting. So tell us about that.
I really love it. Having not played properly D&D since like the 90s, I was itching to get back into playing D&D because I enjoy role play games in general and D&D like as a feeling sort of. But that sort of classic sword and sorcery thing is not necessarily my jam. And so when I saw this like gothic meets Dickensian light versus dark, all the great stuff of D&D, plus all the great stuff Mary Shelley ever wrote, plus everything I liked about the musical version of Oliver, and just gave me the opportunity to be like the absolute Victorian creepy doll musician of my dreams. Like I was so excited. I feel like this is the perfect place for me to play because it touches on a whole bunch of my favorite meat to get into as far as societal dynamics and just the whole atmosphere and ambiance. Ollie wrote a story that I just read, and just the whole atmosphere of what this place is like, particularly the way I decided to bring my character into it. Just like it's just creepy enough. There's just enough intrigue, and it's not the traditional sword and sorcery, which is great if that's your jam. That's just not my particular flavor of fantasy. I much prefer this like historical urban fantasy feeling that we've got going here. I'm just really into it.
Yeah, that is kind of neat. Like it has this Victorian urban fantasy feel with swords and magic and all of that stuff. But yeah, I really like the tension between what one expects from a D&D game and the more urban themes that we're going with in the story. Speaking of picaresque stories, which you pointed out has that Dickensian kind of thing, we have amongst us a special, very special wizard who derives their talents mostly from what kind of unexpected sources. You want to tell us a little about that, Forda?
Yeah, sure. I'm playing Sounder, who is a gutter mage. It's a wizard archetype a friend of mine was drafting up, and I was like, "Hey, can I play test that?" And something he was like, "Sure." And so here I am. The gutter mage is essentially take the wizard's, long hours of study and effort, and then instead of learning that from like a mentor or a school, just gritty, seat of your pants, grit, grime, and maybe you scrounged it from the trash. That's the gutter mage. School of Hard Knocks to the umpteenth degree. Like
Oliver Twist the Wizard. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And I've only given Sounder a few opportunities to really shine, but as the story progresses, there's going to be more about each character's background and each character's situation and where they come from, where they're going. All of your characters are you're basically grifters, right? You're hustlers. You're trying to make it through this very dark, very difficult, very gritty sort of city. And one of you is, well, let's just say very mobbed up. Jen, you wanna tell us about your infernal mobster character?
Yeah. So basically when I started I was talking to Allie about, the setting and everything, and just kind of asking her, like, yeah, like what is something that you feel like you would want to see? And she was like, oh my God, so the crime families and everything like that, and like tieflings have their own special like hierarchy, and like all of the patrons and stuff for warlocks in particular are really cool. And just, I really like uh, uh, emotional terrorism role play. So I'm like, yeah, I thought it would be cool to just really play this character that was sort of like stuck in, like again, born into this crime family, and like dreaming of getting out of it, like having that young rogue's like sort of desire of like, yeah, the two of us will get out of here, we're gonna get that one big score and then we'll be home free and everything, and then just having it like all go awry, and playing that delightful angst of like being, warlock compacted, bound to this family, effectively for the rest of her life, unless, mystery happens. But but yeah, just kind of like playing off that thing of like, the trouble of like, well, I still want to get out of here. I still want to be free of this thing, but I also got these really cool warlock powers, and I mean, that's not that bad, right?
Right. Well, I mean, and
Yeah.
how exactly do you get out
Yeah.
when you've bound your very soul to it?
Exactly.
That kind of.
Exactly.
I think some of
Uh,
the fun we're gonna have this season is you're getting to watch me be out of it,
oh man.
That's
right?
right.
Because
Ooh,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
because Anji was very much born to tiefling nobility. Like
Mhm.
she had all those expectations too, and she managed to use her privilege to walk away from it. So the fact that we have not yet gotten to have that conversation, other than me going, "I
Ooh.
see you," and you going, "And I see you," and I don't understand.
Yeah. It'll be
I
good.
I
It'll be
think
so
that's
good.
gonna be really really meaty. That like
Mhm.
I see what you're doing, and that was me, and I made different choices. And so if you want to make different choices, learn an instrument. Let's
So,
go on the road. Let's do this.
so
Dubious stare
I'm
at the loot.
always down.
so you're gonna
It's
form
like-
a band, is what you're saying?
Oh my god.
I mean,
I mean, bard. I mean, I play the drums. That is my entire skill set. So yes,
Mhm.
learn an instrument. Let's go.
Like I've also enjoyed seeing that kind of come into contact with Sparrow's situation,
Yeah.
where she was part of one of the major crime groups in the city, one of the major gangs, and isn't anymore. But it's also for very different reasons that she has not been entirely forthcoming with at this
Yeah.
point. Like she makes like excuses and little asides, and it's just like, oh hey, no, yeah, let's this is yeah, I'm out, we had a disagreement. That's
Yeah.
really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And
Sparrow and Oriana have a
Mhm.
history. They know each
mm,
other. They were involved in some way. And then fate brought them back together in the first arc of the adventure.
mhm.
Uh, Not necessarily strictly loyally, right?
Mm.
There was a little bit of possible treachery and possible uncertainty, and there's rebuilding trust is going to be tricky.
Mhm.
And I think we're going to get more of that as the season progresses.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I
Definitely.
mean, I think we were talking about, what was it, a bit of a 2-month gap between
Yeah,
something like
something
that.
like that.
something like
There'll
that.
be a short period of time that has passed. Yes, everybody is going to level up, uh, and so everyone should be 4th level when we come back.
Mhm.
I wanted to say something about Sparrow. 2 things about Sparrow. One, something has happened to Sparrow in the past, which has altered Sparrow from the way that Oriana first knew Sparrow.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
So when they reunited, Oriana recognized her, but she was still a little different. And something else has happened to Sparrow in the interim. As I recall, Manda mentioned a story that Allie had written, and perhaps you might tell us a bit about that, Allie, and where we can find the story.
Yeah. Well, if you recall, well, first off, I'll say that the story itself you can find on our Discord, on Dungeon Scholars Discord, under the Dark Dance Library channel, which is up near the top. It's
That's
all. It's
where
not.
that's where we writers put all of our random musings.
I
And there's a
literally
lot
didn't
that
know
you can find
that.
there.
I
And
didn't know
Yeah,
that. No one
there's a
told me
lot
that.
of there's a lot of
Ooh.
short fiction up there tied into.
Guess what
the
I'm
past
gonna do
campaign.
instead of my queries tomorrow?
excellent. Yes,
Ah,
procrastinate professional development and work on
Yeah.
stories for the
Absolutely.
Discord. Yes.
but it is there. It is there. It is free. I also did and still technically do have it up on my Patreon. If you want to support my Patreon, you're more than welcome to patreon.com/AlexanderPitchford. And I also people on my Patreon got to see the first draft, which has a bit of some different stuff going on that we tightened up and adjusted for the final release.
Yeah,
And
which I mean, that's a thing that happens. You write a
Yeah.
thing, you run it past some people, such as your collaborative world designer who was like, "Oh, well, I was planning this and this and this for the campaign," and you're like, "Oh, yeah, okay."
oh yeah.
So
Uh,
I mean, yeah,
But the story itself does take place in the interim, and if you recall, if anyone out there was watching the short first arc that we had, we left off kind of not quite a cliffhanger, but we left off with our characters rushing off into the sewers after a certain shadowy individual that escaped, and the story itself sort of picks up with Sparrow at some indeterminate point past that, poking around and trying to get some leads on where this individual might have gone.
yeah. In the game, I was very much like, okay, so she's gonna get away, and then you're gonna feel like, oh man, we gotta find her, huh? And you're like, no, we run into the sewers, and I'm like, that's not part of the plan. No, arc 1 done. And you're like, hmm.
Ah,
The sewers is now going to be another of our misadventures that we all point to and go, "You dragged me into this.
Yep.
You
yep.
dragged me into this."
Yeah.
I'm sending you my laundry bill.
I
Mhm.
mean, in the story,
I was wearing velvet.
Sparrow's already complaining about how that smell is never coming out of her boots.
Yeah,
Like,
that is.
that pair-
I did read that. Yeah.
That pair of
Oh, man.
boots is
Blood is
Done
thicker than
for.
water, but you know what's thicker than blood? Human waste.
Oh.
Velvet coat.
Oh,
I
no.
hate that for us.
He just- he
I'm
just
so
keeps
sorry
doing
about that.
that.
Anyway, there
yeah.
was bonding. That's what I'm saying.
Um,
So, yeah.
I
Wow,
will
my
say,
brain went sideways for a second.
to steer away from human waste,
Sure, yeah.
I am
Please.
excited about finding out more about like, because we dipped into it a little bit, like the politics of Greymantle and how everything interplays with each other. Just like, because that one guy's house was crazy and weird and like I don't. I
Oh,
just,
Lord Robillard. Yeah, he's no
Yeah.
good though. We don't like him.
Yeah.
that was not
No.
okay. That was a whole lot of nope. And
Yep.
there's a bunch of families. So like, what are their nopes? Let's find out.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. There is so much weirdness to discover. Mm.
And this is just one side of the city. Like, we're dealing with night side at this point, and there's still day side to deal with, whatever. There's a lot going on, and like part of the thing that I wanted to play around with in
I
this
mean,
setting.
some of us are still on milk cartons in Dayside though. Like, we really shouldn't go over there because we're gonna get spotted.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, there's definitely this feeling of, like, there is a status disparity, certainly. Nightside isn't as well
Affluent.
yeah, and by virtue of the fact that Nightside itself, like, to dip into the lore a little bit, the city, the way the city is built up, Nightside is far less developed overall, in part because like, when people kind of started putting the city back together out of the pieces of whatever happened, we won't go into that yet.
Cataclysms happen periodically.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what we're saying.
Well, that section of the city was more destroyed than Dayside's, and they just never bothered to build it up in the same way that Dayside got built up. So a lot of
fewer resources, less will,
yeah,
fewer
like
benevolent people building it up.
Like outside of the older buildings that pre-existed and then were re-inhabited, the a lot of the like more modern buildings in Nightside are like small, like squat, kind of sprawling streets, twisty, and it's like very little urban planning actually went into this place. It's seedy and dirty and cramped, and kind of has that sort of like the wrong side of the tracks Victorian sprawl, kind of everything's got grime all over it sort of feel, like, which is weird in a setting where they don't, like, use a lot of like oil lamps or burn coal. It's all magically fueled, but it's still grimy. Go figure.
Hey, there's some grimy magical components. I mean,
oh yeah.
Right.
Fire spells thrive on guano, so
yeah,
that's true.
Yeah,
I mean,
magic and filth are not mutually exclusive.
that's true. I just, it's one of the things that went into the setting's aesthetic, though, is that I wanted this kind of like Victorian feel, but with that kind of like magic, not magitech, but like kind of like that kind of magically fueled component. So like you've got the like the oil or gas street lamps kind of design wise, but they're all like ever burning torches kind of thing.
It's kind of gaslight fantasy.
Yeah.
Which is neat.
Also, magically fueled steam trains.
Yeah.
Which we haven't touched on yet, but they exist.
You literally pitched this setting to me as a fusion of like.
So we're gonna have a magic train heist sequence at some point,
we better.
right?
Train robbery?
Right?
We better.
Yeah, like that's just gonna be. You can't just drop that and then not be like setting up for This is Chekhov's steam train.
So you're giving. Yeah, clearly this is what the first episode needs to be, is the train heist. And we can pretend it's the first episode without it actually being the first episode, which works well for Firefly.
I am enjoying your Firefly reference.
I was gonna say
right now. And now I'm gonna have to go watch that later. So
Sorry.
Yes.
My game room is a complete mess. It's being renovated. I do think the projection TV is working. I am not sure the DVD player is hooked up. I'm gonna have to find out.
I think it's on Netflix. I'll have to double check now.
Oh, that's better, because I can do that in the bedroom.
Yeah. I think I bought it on Prime because I was
like,
sick
but
of
I do own it.
Going
like,
on and off.
Media.
Yeah.
I have it on DVDs.
I own it
from
somewhere.
15 years ago.
Sadly, I was not a
the
union member when it first aired. It is award season, and so I do have series of television just like showing up at my house on DVD right now. And like, I'm sad at the things I missed before I joined the union, because it is really cool that like I have all of the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and I have all of Ted Lasso that people
those are both really good shows.
Sent to my house for free.
There is one setting aspect I do want to drop that I've kind of had in my head from the start, is that I while we do have that kind of like night and day, literally the city is like, I wouldn't say time locked, but it's like Nightside does have variations to how dark it gets, but it's almost always some flavor of night, be it like twilight or like deeper.
Yeah, at high noon it's like it's gray.
So it's like
right.
Alaska.
There's light, but not light. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like Svalbard half the year.
Yeah, that's how I visualize it.
And Dayside's the reverse. Like Dayside, it still does get darker. It still does have a cycle to it, but like that's the only. This city is the only place where that's the case. It's a weird magical effect that kind of resulted from the calamity situation that we talked about. Someone did a thing and cast a spell, and it cracked reality in this spot, in this space, within the walls of the city. Because even if you go outside the city and look at the city, it doesn't have like a weird effect or anything. It's only within the walls. So it's
not Not necessarily that
magic.
a lot of people who live in the city would know that, though. Most people
Yeah.
born in Greymantle never leave Greymantle. That's just where
Yeah.
they live.
Yeah,
That's what reality is for them.
Yeah, I don't think Sparrow's actually been outside Greymantle. Although at this point she's
Yeah.
only like so for an elf, she's only 20 something.
Mhm.
So like she's
She's
not
a
But
babby.
the thing is, doesn't everyone at least know of a hometown like that? Like we talk about my hometown where I grew up as having a sucking vortex over top of it. You think you can leave, but you'll wind up coming back.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And so I think there are a lot, I think that just like the allegory, there are a lot of places like that. You are born there, it is your whole world. You can't imagine what the world outside of it is. And you live there and you die there, and that's your whole world. Especially if you're from a smallish town or city, especially if it is regionally important. So then it can feel as though it is globally important, even if it's not. So I like that allegory. I like that. Yeah, when people are born here, they live here, they stay here because this is the world.
I just want to draw attention to the fact that Eric is steepling his fingers, and this is
Right?
causing me concern.
Oh no!
It's deep concern. I caught that too.
So before I ask this question, keep in mind that I am a old school Ravenloft fan. Does the city trap people?
Ooh.
I mean, that's a good question.
I mean, obviously it does, but is it doing that consciously?
I'm not sure about that, honestly. Just because something that I'm working on. There is.
This is a mystery of Greymantle.
This is a mystery of Greymantle.
You don't have to answer all the questions.
Yeah.
We don't. There's more to it. There's certainly a lot more to it, and there is certainly a lot more of Greymantle than people realize.
I want to give Rumpus Imperator a shout out in the chat. He said, so everyone in Greymantle is a New Yorker, basically. West of the Hudson is Here Be Dragons territory for a surprisingly large number of them. And I was like, yeah, okay. That's a good analogy. Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, and I know in my personal experience, again, my hometown being my hometown, there is a power dynamic with like old money families there versus who's got the money now versus whatever. And if you are not really prepared to step outside your role in that power dynamic, you're not going to leave, because you don't have to be wealthy to be an old money family in a city in the South. Maybe someone was wealthy 200 years ago and that's enough. And your place in the social hierarchy was determined long before you were born because your last name is whatever. So places where you don't know how your name is going to read, where you don't know how your dad's name is going to have influence on the cop that pulls you over, where you don't know how your magic's going to work, are like, that is Here Be Dragons. Like I'm going to stay here. It sucks to be here, but it's the devil I know.
So, yeah, go for it.
I think that's very interesting and opens up a whole new realm of like, I wasn't even thinking about this for Sounder, but Sounder came to this city when she was a little girl. Like her dad and mom moved here. And so like this is home for her now, but like this wasn't always home, and she barely remembers the place before and still hasn't considered like actually properly leaving this place. So like why, I wonder. That's an interesting interesting can of worms we've opened.
Yeah, definitely. I also want to tease something a little bit. I don't know if it'll ever come up in the game.
That's the purpose of this whole thing.
But there's a space that I've been calling the Empty City. I think I've talked to you actually about it a little bit, Eric. I didn't have a name for it at the time, but
this is my coy look.
Yes. Well, so if Amanda, you read the short story, right? Those little glimpses, those little dreams, those are all set in the Empty City.
Y'all go read the story so we can talk about
Seriously,
it.
seriously.
Yep.
Spoilers.
It's a good story.
Yes.
Is this the one you sent me, Allie?
I might have sent you the link for it, but I sent you the first half of the prologue of the
Give
book.
us
I'm
a little
working on.
teaser,
Yay!
Allie.
Okay, cool.
What is notable about this place? What does it feel like? What does it look like?
Well, imagine a ruined. I wouldn't even call it a reflection of Greymantle exactly. It is a ruined city sitting on an island of stone in an empty black void. Well, empty save for a giant, like a big crimson moon just hovering in the emptiness above, like over the city, kind of almost like in that sense that you see like movies where the moon's just way too big in a given shot. Realistically, it's like that.
A constant blood moon that illumines this dark city.
And it's the only source of light in this entire place. It is just that hovering in a starless sky over just a sea of nothing around it. You don't want to fall off, that's for sure.
Nope.
You can fall off. Note.
Do you just fall endlessly, or do you devolve into madness?
Well,
I don't think I want to know.
No one has ever returned to tell us.
Yeah, exactly.
So this place is connected to Greymantle in some way.
Beautiful.
Yes. There are gateways hidden in various places around the city that open up into this place, and Sparrow has been there.
She might be the only one who returned from her party. Maybe.
Exciting.
Greymantle is built around a crack in reality, like Allie mentioned earlier. A great spell or ritual was cast many, many centuries ago that violated the laws of reality in some way, that left permanent damage on how the world exists in this one space. And Greymantle grew around it organically by the hands and tools of women and men and others. And it has become what it has become. Outside the city, it seems like just any old city, although there's a feeling of anxiety just looking upon it. You become unnerved just looking upon the walls of the city. And then once you're inside, you start to understand why, and then you forget about ever being outside the city. Because Greymantle, as you enter it, slowly becomes your entire world.
So, whether mystically or metaphorically, we don't know.
Right.
But I mean,
there's
obviously,
always another secret.
Stuff's gotta be coming in and out. They do have trade, but like,
yeah.
So, on that point, let's talk about what we think or what we want to happen in the next arc. I'm calling these arcs, not seasons exactly. They're basically an adventure. We went through arc one, which was a heist, an attempted heist to acquire a magical crystal, a shard of a crystal. It didn't necessarily work out super well. The next heist, which I guess is going to involve a train. What do we think might happen? What do we want to happen? And is it going to involve a certain gruff, but
yes,
I don't know, scruffy looking thief?
I mean, probably.
So my brain is so poisoned by Star Wars. I say poisoned lovingly, by the way. That the moment you say scruffy
looking, no.
Oh, I said that specifically to have that effect on all of you.
I'm glad it wasn't just me.
Good.
On purpose.
So, like, yes, he has to make an appearance. I want to know two things, and over the course of this heist, I want to learn how the kind of hierarchy of like magic in this setting works, or rather in this city works, because like that'll help me determine where Sounder and Sounder's gutter mage nonsense fits into it. And I also want to know, I gotta think of how to like word this. It was like sharp clarity there for a moment, and then the words ran away, so I gotta go find them. But there are two main things that I want to know, and the magic side is one of them.
Well, I mean, there's got to be some kind of magic academy in Greymantle, right?
Or like mentorships, or like, and I want to know like what the who does what, who's who kind of thing, like the play of politics, as far as like the mob stuff is very interesting, and I want to know about that. But naturally, that is going to happen because like two of you were like big crime families, and one of you was like lesser crime family. Like, it's gonna happen.
I think Anji has now seen people use magic for, smacking other people down, and finds that fascinating. And it's like, oh, is that something I can learn? So she's gonna get a little more violent, I think. But also, also she hasn't let this group get to know her really yet. The most they have seen is when she went ahead and used her real accent, and everyone's like, "Oh, dang, she's posh as all get out." Oh, dang. So I do think whether it's a train robbery or a bank robbery or what have you, I think letting her use her upbringing, her social graces, her cotillion education to sort of get the team into places, walking in like she owns the place, kind of a thing. I think is a skill that she's like, hey, this could be fun. This could I could go back to being my original self for 15 minutes, if that's gonna be if that's gonna result in an adventure. Like, just don't call my parents. So I think that'll be fun. Letting her flip back and forth between the person she was raised to be and the person she's chosen to be.
Yeah, that could be really interesting.
Yeah. Along those lines, I guess this is more like personal, but like, I thought it was interesting how like at the very end of the first arc, like Ori started hearing like the voice of her patron, um, and like in my headcanon, it was kind of like, for the most part, it's just been like quietly observing through her magical eye and everything. So I like the idea of seeing what happens when it starts considering taking a more direct hand in things, and like what that push and pull will look like, with the relationships to the other characters, with her personal like morals and ethics and stuff like that. And I think that could be really fun and interesting roleplay with like, oh, wait a second, like the creepy voice that lives in my brain and sees through my eyes, telling me to do this thing in the middle of this job, and
oh yeah,
you're speaking my language, Jen, and I appreciate that.
Oh yeah,
so much.
No. Again, when we're not like in front of an audience, I will tell you the things that Eric did to me in our Star Wars campaign.
Oh yeah, no, I am more than happy to give my storytellers the tools to hurt me. Like, just you go, bud.
Oh yeah, I've already given Eric
I will
plenty
use
of ammunition.
them, Jen. That is how much I respect you.
Thank you.
Oh, I've given so much ammunition at this point.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. All right, Sparrow.
I mean, I'm looking forward to. I mean, for one, that idea of kicking off that episode, and I do kind of hope we do this now, but kicking off with that episode of like the in medias res train heist, episode 1 would be killer. but also like
We're
I'm looking
literally
forward
clinging
to-
on for dear life. Like,
Yeah.
ah!
I don't know, and I feel like Anji would have boarded the train with a first class ticket. Like, of course I belong here. Watch me go unlock the door for the rest of you lot. Like, I had this fancy dress in
Yeah.
my trunk. It was just sitting there not doing me any good. So let's
She goes
Oh,
and
yeah.
unlocks the door. Huh, where is everybody? And we cut to people like fighting for their lives on the
Just
top
like,
of the train.
Yeah.
Somebody
That'll-
crawling
that-
out of the coal, just like, this sucks.
Yeah.
like, listen, I'm wearing the dress I ran away in. The least you could do is be at the door on time. Come on.
Yes, we like Ori's just clinging to like the side of a window. Like, yes, you have the hard part.
All right, so Arc
Oh,
2,
we'd love to
the
do that.
train job.
Yeah.
Listen, the
Open
tea
with the
is
train
too
job.
hot
Well, I mean,
and
I-
the crumpets are too sweet. What do you want from me?
I mean, certainly, I don't want to
And
bog
the
us down
jam is
too much with the train
cloying.
job, but like, yeah, that's gonna be exciting. I think, and then and seeing what evolves out of that, because there's so many ways that could spin off into some of the things that I suspect are coming.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Are you gonna involve Tarrant? Now, Tarrant, for those of you who haven't yet watched the entire first arc, is a professional thief who works in the city. You kind of cross paths with him in a couple of respects. And I don't want to say became friends exactly. Friends seems like the wrong word. But like, you know each other. You know his skills. He knows your skills somewhat. You think he would be useful? Or would he be a liability? Or both?
I don't know. What do y'all think?
So the answer to that is yes. Useful and a
Yes,
liability.
Yes, both of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is true.
But
that is fair.
I don't know if I want to involve him immediately in the train heist proper, but like, or at least like not in the first episode, but I feel like we would have probably involved him in some portion of the planning or aftermath.
Yeah, like maybe he's supposed to be waiting with like the escape vehicle or whatever. Like,
The getaway
if this
car, or
is-
like he knows the fence. Like whatever we're going to get, he
Or-
knows the fence and he knows how we're gonna make the profit.
Well, so I'm thinking like a Fast and Furious situation where they
Transporter.
where no, where they're like, there's that Fast and Furious. I think it was 6. It might have been 6, where they have like the cars on the train, and then they drive the cars off the train onto another car in what is probably the most ridiculous and inefficient way to steal cars off of a train, but yet it looks really freaking cool. He could be the guy driving the car that we drive our cars onto.
Metaphorically, or yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, like the D&D version. So like a horse
Yeah.
carriage
Okay,
that
okay,
we jump horses
I don't-
onto.
I mean,
Right?
it was
This
just
is
it does-
amazing.
I
Okay.
That
found
would
4
depend.
white horses. There
You're
were 4 of
welcome.
us. Like,
Yeah.
So
a little
I'm just gonna
speechless.
give people a little preview here, which is I really for those of you who saw the episode The Devil's Choir, which is the second episode, I think. Tarrant made his home in the belfry, the bell tower of a church to the Queen of Hell. The devils are basically the main religion in Nightside of Greymantle, and Tarrant kind of has a little hideout in the bell tower, but y'all found it, which means that it's not a secret hideout anymore, not for him. So I am planning on you kind of making that your base of operations, which would be
Oh,
really,
yeah.
really funny for Tarrant. Like when he shows up, he's like, well, yeah,
Oh.
fine. Make yourselves at home. Sure, why not?
did you
Getting
think
offered
it was
his
a
own like
secret?
stash of booze. Like,
I
here, you
mean-
want some?
It's partly because I really like that map and I like that concept a lot.
Oh yeah.
But
Excellent.
yeah.
Hey,
Well, and
it's
also
better
from
than
some of
using
the-
the sorry.
No, keep going.
It's better than using either the, it's not a brothel, but the brothel and the, carriage house. Like, those are two not so great places to have a secret hideout.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, and some of the planning we were doing ahead of time, Tehran's been trying to get Anji to come back there for a while. So, like, hi, I'm here now, but I brought all of them. Not
Nice.
not
Oh yeah.
what you were
Oh, and
asking.
Sparrow.
but-
And Sparrow
but we're
already
good,
found the
right?
place herself. Yeah.
right? Like you didn't need me to bring you there, but I did. I did do that.
Got
Bless your
Okay.
heart.
So I wanted to point out in the chat, Rumpus has suggested that you all start stealing chariots. Clearly, that will be very lucrative, or at least very exciting. And Meyer Doug suggested something regarding horses with horseshoes and feather falls. So I'm going to write that down in my
Oh
notes.
no! Oh no!
Oh dear.
Look, horses are one of those animals that you're not supposed to like drop from a distance. Like they're not necessarily real great at landing from falls.
No, they really
no.
aren't. They're
mean,
so
Like
bad at it.
if they jump and then land, okay. Like because then it was.
But
a
it has to
controlled
be
leap.
decently like level-ish ground for
the-
most horses.
And horses have like good decision making capability. So if they
Mhm.
consented to making that jump, they will probably land it all right. But like it has to be the horse's idea. Fun story. In the state of Florida, for a long time, a horse was just considered a mode of transportation. And so you could get a DUI riding a horse while drunk. And an attorney successfully argued because the law in Florida is that you have to be in actual physical control of the vehicle, that if you are in fact drunk and on a horse, which of you is in control?
The horse is really in control. Yes,
Whoa.
that's a good argument.
You
Yes.
can no longer get a DUI
Whoa.
on a horse in Florida because there is case law that the horse is the one in control.
Amazing.
Okay, I'm gonna write that down in my notes too.
Okay.
So if you
I
ever
will-
want to get drunk and go horseback riding, just be on a horse you trust to get you home. That's all I'm saying.
I will say I do hope not to quash anybody's fun too much, but I do hope we veer more toward train job than Fast and Furious.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm just saying a train job in
look,
which we
I'm
get drunk
just-
and then have to trust a horse to get us home. I mean, that's
Yeah.
a whole.
I'm
right
just
there.
writing down options. That's all.
Yeah,
Alright,
and
fair
was
enough.
it Sounders horse like
Yes.
decidedly
Yes.
the best horse like period?
Oh yeah.
He's big. He's kind of, kind of portly,
Chonker,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
he's
Yeah.
reliable.
Maybe
He's an absolute unit, but like a trustworthy one.
maybe when our ally slash enemy, our frenemy friend
Friend of me.
inevitably betrays us, it is that horse that saves us.
Hey, I mean,
Look.
Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
Yeah.
Maybe Chonker and the horse just kicks him off the train.
Yeah.
Really funny. All right. I'm gonna.
All right.
I'm gonna write that down as an option.
That'd be
okay,
great.
but like as
Kicks
far as like
Tarrant off the train.
Oh.
I forgot the name of that horse, but I'm
I
just
wrote
gonna
it
write
down
Chonker.
somewhere, but I couldn't find my notes.
Yeah,
Oh,
no
It's,
worries.
it's
man.
either Hank or Ben, and I
Yeah,
can't
it
remember.
seems like it.
Yeah, I remember.
the-
I remember that.
In the chat, Rumpus pointed out that even running downhill at speed can break a horse's legs.
Yep,
So,
depending
like,
on the horse and the hill, absolutely.
But they
So-
also point out we can just feather fall the horses.
That's true.
Mm.
That's true. So has anyone ever had this experience where you're holding a cat and you drop the cat and the cat lands fine, but if you're holding a dog and you drop the dog has no idea what to do? Just me? Okay.
I mean,
Dogs
yes.
are terrible at falling.
Yes,
thing.
but
See,
no.
that's fair.
I mean,
I
I
did
showed
not
the group
purposefully
earlier.
drop the dog.
I have a 4-month-old puppy, and sometimes he will wiggle his way out of your grasp, and then he will fall on the ground in such a way that's like, dude, you should have let me put you down.
Yep.
Amanda's
That's
4-month-old
what happens.
puppy is the cutest puppy.
He is the cutest puppy.
We have pictures that are on our Discord. Join our Discord. You can see cute puppy pictures. And this is the puppy that looks like a stuffed animal,
Oh,
but it's an actual dog. So it's amazing. Forta, if you haven't seen those pictures yet, I'm pretty sure they're on the Discord.
okay.
I'm gonna make sure they're on the Discord.
All right. Back to Greymantle, because we just have a
Yes.
couple minutes. Because I was thinking that we'd wrap by about 7 or so.
Just fine.
So, real quick, if you have one plot element that you would like to see in the game going forward, just what would it be? Raise your hand if you want to volunteer to go first. Otherwise, I will call on somebody.
Oh dear.
Define plot element.
Tarant gets kicked off the train.
Okay.
A mysterious, sexy stranger from your past shows up. Sorry, I've already used 2 examples, so you got to think of one other. 4, 3.
I got one.
All right, Jen.
Because I am tired from post Katsucon brain, and I literally drove 9 hours. I don't remember his name. But I would like some sort of cool thing with Oriana's mentor being in some sort of trouble and mysteriously disappearing or something, and then just, like, oh wait, we have to get him back. Like
Oriana's
Do we?
mentor is named Dumat,
Oh right.
and he is the Lord of Silence. And you want him to be in some kind of peril.
Yeah, or like it seems that way, I don't know. I really like the way you play him, because it's so hard to tell what is ever happening with that guy, and it's so good.
So I have a particular friend of mine who I would love to come and guest as an NPC for Dumat, the Lord of Silence. But I feel like if I gave away who that was, it would be a spoiler. So
Okay.
we're just going to say that yes, Dumat is an NPC that I really like, and I'm glad that you feel the same way.
Oh yeah.
Okay, who else?
I would like to see like a Sounder works as a smuggler, like that's her background. I would like to see something come up where like someone else is pushing down, some kind of job for her to take care of or something. Like it's fun when she's, self-directed, but that doesn't pay the bills. Like she can't, oh, I'm going to smuggle this item and like hope that someone buys it. Like
So you want her to have a jobber moment. Gotcha.
It would be cool, if I may throw a thing out there.
Of course.
If like, what if Sounder is doing, their smuggling thing, and the cargo that like a box of the cargo like spills open, and it's something completely unexpected that leads to moral quandary about what you're actually
Good.
doing.
Good, yes.
Yes.
I want to go back to for not just jobber stuff. I want the job that she's trying to do to make ends meet to have conflict with the job she's doing to like not have to just make ends meet.
Okay.
That's always fun.
All right. In my notes, I refer to the party as the DOD, which stands for Daughters of Darkness, because that's what the first episode was called. I feel like that's a pretty good name. If you come
It
up
is
with
a cool name.
if you come up with it's a Hailstorm song.
Yeah.
If you come up with a different name, that's totally cool too. But that's what it is in my notes. All right. Allie or Amanda? Got a plot element that you find real juicy?
I think it would be interesting for the team to brush up against Anji's past, be that her parents, someone that was a friend, maybe that is who has hired Sounder to do some smuggling. um, just somewhere where we brush up against the nobility, and it gives Anji that opportunity to either be vulnerable or shut down. To and sort of this is what I'm running from, and doesn't it look shiny from the outside, but really it's corrupt and rotten and terrible. And some people actually like it, but that was not for me, and that's why I walked
Yeah.
away. And sort of just to brush up against that
Are
that
they
that country
Dayside
club
nobility?
people. They are, in fact.
Okay, yeah, because that would be cool to explore in general. Just like, because again, I think we were talking earlier how most of us probably haven't really interacted with that part of the city much, apart from robbing them.
Yeah,
we
the
don't,
whole, the
we
whole
don't
reason
know much
Anji,
about Dayside.
the whole reason Anji ran to Nightside is because no one in Dayside would
Be caught dead there.
imagine
Yeah.
someone who was important and special and fabulous and rich over there, like surviving in Nightside. So if she hasn't been kidnapped and is somewhere on Dayside waiting for someone to ask for ransom, then clearly she's dead. Like, they would never have dreamt that like she ran away to Nightside to play the drums in a club. Like, that's
Oh yeah. I will
yeah, they don't do
say,
that.
I kind of envision occasionally that you do get kind of hapless visit, like almost touristy visitors from Dayside to Nightside to
They're
gawk at how
slumming.
quaint everything is.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Uh,
they go slumming.
Yeah.
So
Here.
it seems to me, and you know, we'll think about this a little bit. It seems to me that tieflings are celebrated in Nightside because they are a mark of an infernal gift, essentially. Dayside might have a different opinion about tieflings.
I mean, Dayside is where the main temple of the goddess Aris, goddess of celestial light, is. So yeah, they might.
Yes. I wonder if Anji being born a tiefling was a social scandal of sorts, and that is part of why she fled. Anyway, we'll find out more about that. Anyway,
Ooh.
just something
Yeah.
to think about. Something to think about.
Yeah.
Okay, Allie,
Uh,
what's your plot element?
Well, I certainly would like to see a particular uh new, well, I guess I wouldn't necessarily call it newer, but a different criminal element start to make
Mm.
some moves. I mean, maybe if Dumont ends up being in trouble, they could have something to do with it.
Okay.
Trouble.
Well,
Reverse.
it might be trouble, or it might actually be trouble. We'll
Yeah.
see.
I'm just hearing Taylor Swift in my head.
We'll just say the fiends, the hell. As I've been kind of calling them when I've been writing stuff, the Hellfire Syndicate.
Yeah. They
Uh,
just call themselves Hellfire, but
Hellfire.
yeah, calling them the Hellfire Syndicate would be reasonable.
I feel like, well, they're not the only game in town as far as Warlocky pact having crime families. Well, I guess this isn't
Yes.
really a family, but
So
Warlock empowered crime groups.
one of the things that Allie and I have been discussing is, okay, so Greymantle is based around a balance of conflicting forces. If you were to draw a card from the major arcana of the tarot, it would be the Temperance card. There's the balance and juxtaposition of different elements. And there are 4 axes upon which D&D morality and cosmology tends to revolve: good, evil, law, and chaos. The infernal lords are those of law. Okay, not necessarily evil. I mean, many of them are evil, but Hellfire is mostly a lawful organization.
Mm-hmm.
The opposition to the lawful organization is chaos. It's the Fae. The Fae are not nearly as organized as Hellfire is, but they're still quite powerful. So maybe we'll see some competition
Yeah.
showing up in this
Well, I
next
mean,
arc.
should I mention a whisper? There's probably a
Yes.
whispered name going about.
Perhaps go for it.
Well, there are whispers about something called the Shadow Crown.
That's right. A new power rising in the city, making a name for itself on the backs of a very potent enforcer called the Crimson Cormorant.
Ooh, scandal.
Another
That
bird
name.
name.
That freaking name.
That's right. So we have some cool stuff coming up. I just want to mention a couple things that the chat brought up. This concept of Anji's parents having told everybody that she's dead and then it being super awkward if she reappears. That's good. I'm definitely
I
going
like
to take
that.
that,
I
Rufus.
don't hate
Thank you.
that. Oh no,
There was
we're
also a
so
question
sad.
about whether Oriana really wants out, and if she does, and she manages to get out, is she going to discover that it's really lonely on the outside?
Ooh.
It is. It
Mm.
is, but it might be.
Something to-
It's worth it. So some of
something to
this is
think
worth
about.
it.
Yeah.
Something to
I
think about.
definitely am like looking forward to just having the opportunity now to really explore what the compact means and you know, all of everything about it versus like again before where I just saw her just kind of like getting into compartmentalization mode because I have stuff to do.
Well, I think the conversations are going to be really interesting.
Yeah.
Like, so this is what my life looks like. This is what I
Yeah.
gave up. This is what you have that you might be giving up. Like, is it
Yeah.
worth the trade-off? That's a very personal decision to make. Like, I feel like those
Yeah.
conversations are going to be
It's going to be good.
meaty and crunchy and delicious. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then one
Is
question.
Oriana really prepared
Mm-hmm.
for the consequences
Yes.
of giving up her connections? Okay. So I didn't say this at the beginning, but this is a thing that I've been doing, which is a DM technique of just meeting with your players every so often and checking in about how the setting appeals to them, what they find interesting, what sort of things they'd like to explore with their characters. I highly recommend every DM take up this technique because it will give you uh, a better bead on what your players want and what's going to excite them and incite more cool stories at the table. So thank you so much, everyone, for telling me all these things. I have taken
Yeah.
notes, and I am, I think, a little bit prepared for our next session. So, according to my schedule that I have down, the first episode of Arc 2 of Greymantle is March 13, which is Monday. It's not 2 weeks from now, it's 3 weeks from now, because one of us is going to be on a very cool vacation next week. And so that just
Yeah.
kind of delays our calendar a little bit. But so pencil in your calendar from March 13, and we are going to see some of these things start to come to light in the train job. So,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming with us on this chat. I have been Eric Scott V, the DM of the Greymantle campaign. I run a few other things here on the Dungeon Scrawlers, but we've diversified our content to a number of different campaigns. There is going to be a very cool game starting up on March 1st. I don't want to give too many details away, but you're not going to want to miss it, is what I'm saying. And that's going to be really cool. We have more Isekai Realms coming up in the next few weeks, and you can see me struggle to embrace the role that Helm has set forth for me. And otherwise,
losing his goddamn mind.
that's right.
But
It
he's
is
adorable.
the demands of the demands of a god of paladins and a god of protectors don't necessarily match with my particular moral system. So yeah, come check it out. Allie and I are both in that game.
Yeah.
Allie has become a very, very attractive moon elf. Her attractiveness is starting to distract the rest of the party. She did not go for
little
the
bit.
so beautiful it gives people heart attacks level of charisma, which she could have, and I want to applaud her restraint in not doing that.
Yeah. Well, just wait though. I have apparently very form-fitting leather armor to put on next. So
Yes,
that's gonna
that
be a
is
thing.
pretty sure that's the Fox at Twilight's armor, and
Yeah, I am too
I
now.
made that up, so it's entirely my fault. So on that note, take it away, Allie.
Hi everybody. As we said at the top, I'm Alexander Pitchford, writer, game designer, one of the co-creators of this fantastic Greymantle setting. I try not to toot my own horn too much, but I actually really am proud of this. And I'm looking forward to this because if you want to check out my stuff, I have a website. It's, I believe, just alexandrapitchford.cards.co. I can drop the link in the chat, but that'll have links to where you can find all of my writing, all of my Patreon stuff, my links back to here, actually. And that's, yeah, all of it in one place.
Awesome. Amanda?
Hi, yes, once again, I am Amanda Cherry. I write contemporary and historical urban fantasy, the occasional role play game, and every so often an award-winning screenplay. You can find me online at Manda the Ginger. That's the same username as I've got here in the Twitch chat. TikTok and Twitter are the two places I am most likely to be. Right now on TikTok, I am in the process. I parted ways with my literary agent last year. I am querying right now, trying to get a new one, and I have turned that whole process into a game with prizes. So if you've ever wanted to watch an author query and be like ridiculous and also roll dice twice a week to see what I have to do next, that's a fun series I'm doing over on TikTok. And yeah, you'll find me here starting on March the 13th for the second season of Greymantle. I'm so excited.
Amazing. Jen?
Hi, I'm Jen Brazis. I go by Savage Sparrow on the internet. I am most active on Twitter and probably Facebook. I don't know. My website, savagesparrow.com, is where I design amazing nerdy clothing, accessories, and apparel. Please come by around March because I have the really cool Pathfinder collection that will be available once I fill all the Kickstarter orders. We'll also be vending at PAX East. It's going to be amazing. I'm thinking about doing a mini crab rave at the booth because, you know, who doesn't want to just randomly crab rave in the middle of a convention floor? I think it'll be awesome. And I have too much power and cannot be stopped. Anyway.
Oh, I guess that leaves me. Hi, I'm Lex Forda on the internet. You can find me most places at Forda Fair. I'm still stuck on Twitter. That's where you'll find me updating things about streams and other things. You can also catch me in like 6 hours if you are up incredibly early or incredibly late for whatever reason. We're going to be over on
We are.
Unscripted's channel. And we're doing an orienteering session where we finally get to sit down and explain to ourselves and everyone else what the fuck is going on.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Nice.
I look forward to that with my cinnamon roll clockwork undead girl. So that'll be fun.
Okay, yeah, no, you have me now. Like, okay, I need this.
Thank you so much for sticking with us. Please tune in on the 13th for the first episode of Arc 2 of the Greymantle campaign, and we will see you then. Until then, may your word counts and your dice rolls be equally high.